Hello, and welcome to episode 137 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I'm talking about strategies and methods we can use to get you profitable within your first 2 years of business. Most businesses, like I'll say in there, don't make it past 2 years. I don't remember what the stats are, but you could look them up. A lot of people have ambitions when starting their business, but things don't go right. Having a mentor is a great way to start with that, or listening and gathering all the information you can. Learning is the best way to be successful. So we're going to talk about that in the episode. And don't forget about my design mentor, because we do all these things in there. I'm there to support you, to meet with you, and help you as you're starting out your career. I'd love to have you in there. Check that out. Okay, let's talk about being profitable and starting a new career. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. So it is an interesting topic to think about, starting out your new career as an interior designer. And maybe it's starting a new business, because that's often the case, right? A lot of residential interior designers want to go into business for themselves because it's typically the way to have the most autonomy, make the most potential income, and it's a very challenging way to do that. Working for other people is typically an easier route. It does give you some experience. So the challenge is, though, if you're coming from another career, maybe not out of design school, how do we make that work and make you marketable to another interior designer? Well, that's the things that we talk about in my design mentor. So if that's interesting to you, we can talk about that in there. But first of all, let's talk about being profitable right out the gate as an interior designer with a new business. Now, this is not something that I did. I have told you my story before. I started very slowly. I got my business license during the recession, and then I worked full-time for an architect while I was on the weekends building up my business on the side. So I had just a client here and there. I really wasn't trying to promote it because I was still working full time, but I knew that that was the path that's taking. So baby steps for 2 years, I was trying to build it, and then finally took the plunge after 2 years of going fully on my own. I think we've all heard the stories, especially celebrity designers or designers to the rich and famous. A lot of them sometimes will have just the right connection, or they'll tell just the right person, like, you know what, I want to be an interior designer. And that person says, oh, great, I know Brad Pitt, he wants his house done. So here, why don't you do that? And that is the dream that every person would love to do, is be like, hey, let's just have a fully profitable high-end client right from the very beginning. As we are well aware, is not the case for most people. So it does happen, and we've heard all those stories, but it's likely not going to be the case for you. However, the takeaway from that little scenario is that you are telling people. The moment that you've decided to become an interior designer, you should start telling people. They probably already know this about you. They know that you're creative and that you have this talent, and they've probably been telling you for years, like, hey, you should do this for a living. I talk to people all the time who are like, oh, interior design, that should be so fun. I always wanted to do that. Or we'll be in a group and be like, oh yeah, Sally, you really should. I've been telling you for years, you should do this. So as soon as you've decided, like, yeah, I want to follow my passion and I want to make a career out of it, start to tell people, because they'll be like, oh, great, I want to have you do my house someday. And don't take that lightly. Make a note of it. And you can be like, oh, great, I'll let you know when I'm ready to take on clients. But I would seriously take their name down, get their email address, and start putting them on your list so that when you are opening your doors, you send that out to them and say, hey, you might not be ready for a big project. Let's start small, but I've got my business open and let's do this. That is going to be, I think, one of the best ways to start having clients and start to be profitable as an interior designer. You cannot be profitable if you don't have any clients, right? So that personal connection is going to really bolster your first year or two as an interior designer. Understand next that you are going to face a lot of challenges to make that profitable. There is going to be sweat equity in those first 2 years, especially. The first 2 years, a lot of businesses don't make it past that point. Of course, you're listening to this podcast, and so that means that you are really proactive about your career. You're likely going to make it past those 2 years if you really want to. So that is what we're talking about today. Why does your network matter? Like I said, you want to start telling everybody that you know in every conversation. You go to any family birthday party or kids' soccer game, people are like, oh, how's it going? Well, you just, instead of just saying fine, you should say, great, I'm starting a new career. Great, I'm starting a new business. And they'll be like, oh, tell me all about it. So that's like going to be your number one method. Then after that, you're going to be a little bit more proactive. So first of all, you're taking all these names and numbers, writing them down. You're taking names, put them in your little black book. No, but really keep a record of this. Then you're going to proactively reach out and start emailing your friends and your former colleagues or people that you love to keep in touch with. Let them know through an email and be like, hey, I'm starting this business. If you've ever need something, let me know. If you have something in mind right now, big or small, shoot an email back to me and let's talk about it. You can also offer incentives for referrals. So word of mouth, they get a little bonus or they get a gift or they get a free hour, something that you can incentivize people. It works for some people. Some people love incentives. And then, of course, your social media. So you're going to want to blast it out there. You have to be confident. You have to be bold. It's hard for some people, others not so much, but you want to come out swinging with your new business if you're serious about making money. So let's not be timid or shy about like, oh, I'm just starting a business and I'll just let people find me organically. Well, that's never going to happen, especially if nobody knows that you started this new career. I'm taking a break in the episode to talk about our episode sponsor, Cozy Earth. One of the things to consider for your clients as you're looking for the betterment of their home is how they are sleeping. It is very important to sleep well because that helps your brain function properly. And as you get older, sleep becomes more and more important. So Cozy Earth has amazing viscose from bamboo sheets that are so smooth and luxurious. I've tried them myself and I can definitely vouch for them. You're going to want this for yourself and for your clients, which I definitely am now. I was looking for more sources for sheets as well as towels and other things. They've got so much on there. They have pajamas. Could be a nice gift for designers, good for moms, good for clients. So you're going to want to check out Cozy Earth so you can sleep better with Cozy Earth and use my exclusive code DesignCurious at checkout for 40% off best-selling sheets. And like I said, they have towels and pajamas and more. You want to check them out. Again, that's code DesignCurious at checkout. And they also give you 100 nights to decide with their sleep trial. And their bedding products come with a 10-year warranty. So go to Cozy Earth and check them out today and let them know you heard about them on Design Curious. Okay, so we've talked about this before. You need a portfolio. How do you build it up quickly? Use your own home, the first place. Invest in some great photography. You can take great photos. If you have one of the new iPhones with the 3 cameras, you can take some excellent photos. There's even courses for how to shoot professional photography with your iPhone. if you don't have a lot of money to put into it. Otherwise, hire a photographer to take some vignette photos of your house, stage a corner, restage it again with some shopping spree from Home Goods that you can return. And then use those photos, do flat lays, do photos of you. I mean, you're your brand, right? So you need photos of you to talk about what you're doing, engaging, smiling photos, maybe you in action of like looking through some paint colors, something like that. You can use all of these for your social media. You're going to put it on your website, you're going to put it on flyers, handouts, cards, whatever you need to pass out to people to show that you've done work. And then the next thing after you've used your own space in it, or if you don't have quite the right space to work with, then you can ask family and friends for free or $50 or something to let you go wild in their living room and take some photos. That's going to be the number one best way, because oftentimes you're not going to have a client project to show people right from the get-go. Then you're going to want to use online platforms like social media, LinkedIn to showcase your work. So you're going to put all those things up there, talk about it, talk about how excited you are to do design, how passionate you are to improve other people's homes. And then maybe do a before and after too. So it'd be great as you're taking those photos to kind of show before styling, after a professional comes in. And don't forget to call yourself a professional, because you're providing a professional service. So you can create some packages for people to maybe try you out. So you could do color selection package. You can do designer for an hour, have them come like basically pick your brain, or it's just like a consultation. Of course, these all need to be paid for, or per room package, or if you love doing nurseries, just have nursery packages or e-design packages. Maybe some low-cost investments so people can try you out because they know that you're pretty green and they want to make sure you know what you're doing. Other people who maybe have known you longer could trust you to do more with their home. But some stranger who's just come to your website or seen you on social media might not know for sure, and they want to try you out. You also want to come up with a lead magnet. So you're going to create a PDF or something that will entice people to give them your email so that you can exchange that for some great insight that they might need. And you might want to go out and collaborate with local businesses, partner with your local paint store or tile store, and have people come and meet you in there for schedule an hour. And you'll put the tile together for them or help them to visualize a potential project, or work with a contractor, or go to your local Chamber of Commerce meetings and groups, or join a BNI. You're going to get out there and network is the key. So you got to make yourself visible. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or extrovert. You need to get in front of people and sell your services, and you're going to be selling your brand, and you're going to be selling your designs later on. So it's great practice to get that confidence of being in front of people. Start writing a blog or a newsletter. Blogs are great. Blogs have not died. We've talked about that before. So you're going to just pick a topic, learn about it, and then talk about it. You don't necessarily have to know everything. You can find something you're interested in, study up and learn about it, and then you just share the things that you just learned. There's no shame in that. And people might want to know as well. So then you've already done the work for them, and they can learn what you just learned about, maybe the history of your local town, some historical building or something like that. It's important to stay patient. You need to stay consistent. You need to celebrate all of your small wins. So if someone's like, yeah, I'll hire you for an hour. Great, you've got your first paid client, and celebrate that. There's a lot of struggle in those first 2 years, and you're going to want to celebrate the little things because you might not necessarily have the income to come in. Now, of course, we have some great guests on this podcast that talk about finances, that are fractional CFOs or bookkeepers or have programs. I highly recommend that the first person that you hire in your business is to be a bookkeeper to help you set up your books and make sure that you're all set for taxes. Now, if the thought of setting up your business and all these things is overwhelming to you, don't forget this summer I have Launch Your Business Bootcamp. We're going to be running it in July and August, and we're going to run through exactly all of these things. I'm going to hold your hand as we talk about your why you're starting your business. We're going to work on your brand, your website. We're going to work on your contract, how you manage a project, how to make you marketable for your first clients, setting up your email, your newsletter, all those things. We're going to walk through that in 8 weeks, and then you'll be ready to go. So if you haven't even started yet and you're overwhelmed by the thought of even like getting your federal tax ID number, then let's do that together, and you can get and Launch Your Business Bootcamp this summer. So links for that in the show notes to get more information, get on the wait list. Mini commercial for that there. But the key point is that if you want this career, you need to have a little bit of grit. You need to really want it and put in the work. Make yourself visible, and don't be afraid to tell people what you're doing. I think that's going to be one of the key takeaways, is that don't be shy about being an interior designer. Almost everybody you talk to is going to love that you're doing that. They're going to talk to you more about it. They're not going to really understand what it entails. That's why they need to come listen to this podcast. But everybody loves interior design. It's just a great conversation starter. But tell people, and then tell them you're looking for clients. Ask for referrals. Ask for who could you talk to that might be interested in updating their space soon. So ask for the referral. Be patient. Expect it to take about 2 years before you start really making some good income, unless you've got some celebrity client knocking on your door. And so in the meantime, you might also be working part-time for someone, have other things where you can make income, but it is going to be a challenge to make income, right? Any business starting out, you're likely not to be profitable until 2 years in. But let's try to fast track that as much as possible by following these steps, and we will get you out the door and on your way to a career that you love, that pays you well, and that you can make an impact in other people's lives. So I hope that inspires you to get out there and start telling people about your new career. And if you need help setting up that new business, you're going to want to get into Launch Your Business Bootcamp this summer. Also, my design mentor is there for you. If you've already started, if you're already on your way, but you need a lot more support, I'm there for you and my design mentor. Check both of those out on my website, ourworddesign.com, in the mentorship and guides area on my website. Okay, that is it for this week. Next week, I'll have another great episode. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, ourworddesign.com, or email me at podcast@ourworddesign.com.